Persona 3 is a very well-beloved game in the Persona franchise. It has been released many times as, originally Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3. Then we also eventually got Persona 3 Reload and Persona 3 FES or whatever. And now we get a full-blown remake of Persona 3 Reload. And this video is going to be a little bit different. I haven't finished this game yet because it's a big game. It's a chunky game. I'm currently 15 hours into this, 60-hour game. At least according to the game, I'm 15 hours. So, this video is gonna be more of an impressions video, but let's get into it. Hi guys, DPX here, giving you my impressions today of Persona 3 Reload. Before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell, leave a comment, or I will unleash my persona on you. So, how this video is gonna work is, this isn't gonna be as structured as a normal review. It's just gonna be me listing off things I like about it, some things I'm mixed on, and some things I don't like, which is how my reviews usually are, but this is gonna be a lot less structured and definitely not as scripted. I have bullet points, but it's just a simple impressions video. Of course, I think the visuals are great. Persona has always had the visual style that makes it distinct and makes it, look unique. It almost looks like you're playing an anime, and I'm not an anime guy. I don't really, there's like Dragon Ball Z that I like. There's some anime based on other properties I like. That's about it. But I really like this aesthetic, and, this is something I saw in Persona 5, where, just how flashy it is. Yeah, the game's really flashy, and all the effects are cool. One thing worth noting, I'm not too into Persona. The only game I've played before this was Persona 5, and even then, I didn't play it that much. Not that I didn't want to, it's just, it's a big time commitment, and, it's a series I've wanted to get into, but I've kind of barely been able to. But, so I started playing Persona 3 Reload. I haven't really played Persona 3 before this, and I think this is a great game. The combat is cool, it's turn-based, but I like the way it's done here, particularly. Sometimes you get to go again, and you also have your persona, which is cool. You get to customize it, and certain enemies or bosses, are immune to certain attacks. So you have to really strategize, see what works best. There's also an ensemble cast of characters here, which I think is very, I enjoyed them, and you can do different things with them. There are certain, you're also a kid in school, in, high school, so you're interacting with people in the school, you're trying to make friends, people want to hang out with you, there's a bunch of girls who you can, date, I know it sounds kind of weird when I say it like that, but, doing all that stuff, levels up your stats and all that. It improves your stats, and it helps throughout the game. There's also the music. Now, I didn't really play Persona 3 before this, but I am familiar with the soundtrack. Persona, not just Persona 3, but all the Persona games have a very, iconic soundtrack. But from what I understand, they completely, remixed a lot of the music. The music in this game is, the music in Persona 3 went hard already. But the music in this game, the remix, they go even harder, they sound a bit better, they have a bit more beats in the back. I think it's really cool. The game's also very faithful to the original. This is a remake. It's a full-blown remake from the ground up, and I think it is done very well. It definitely looks really good, but I'd say, you look at the original looks really good, but this looks just way better. There's also Tartarus, which I've heard some people that they don't love it that much, but they say it's improved here. I do really like Tartarus in this game. I think at times it gets a little tedious, there's times where you're just moving through the area, you're just going from one place to another, finding a door, and it does get a bit tedious, and you're just fighting enemies. It just feels like an enemy gauntlet, but I don't mind it that much. There's one thing I'm not quite happy with. It's that apparently this doesn't actually include all the content. This is a remake of the original Persona 3, not Persona 3 Reload, or this is Persona 3 Reload, not Persona 3 Portable or Persona 3 FES or whatever. This is a remake of Persona 3, which means a lot of the content exclusive in in Persona 3 Portable, which I've heard is like the definitive version of Persona 3, is absent in this game, you know, and that kind of sucks because I'd say this is pretty much the definitive version of Persona 3. It's on Xbox Game Pass. I know playing Persona on Xbox might sound a little cursed because you probably associate this series with PlayStation first, but it's on Game Pass. I probably actually wouldn't have bought this had it not been on Game Pass. Maybe I would have waited for a sale because it's not quite a proven game to me. But, you know, getting it on Game Pass, I think that might be the way to go if you just want to try this out, because it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to keep playing it. I'm not going to have a full review for it. This is the substitute for that. But, yeah, this is probably a game I'm going to be playing all throughout the year. I also like, this is something else I did not mention, I also like all the little things you can do. Like, there's a mall, you can go into an arcade and play games. You have a computer in your own dorm room where you can play an MMORPG, like the game calls it an MMORPG. You can join like a track team, you know, there's like, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff. There's really not much of a structure you have to follow in this game. This is kind of a game where you can play it sort of however you want, you know, like the certain day, like the day changes and that progresses the story, but you can control that. You can choose what to do on certain days. And there's also something I forgot to mention. You can also rewind. You know, you can, if you wanted to accomplish something on a certain day, but you didn't get to do that, you can rewind. You can go back to that day and do whatever you wanted to do. There's also an option to fast forward through cutscenes and mostly dialogue, not so much cutscenes. You know, there are these fully 2D animated anime cutscenes, which I think are really cool. But let's just say, like, you know, you're one of those people who just want to play the game. You can press the pause button, or what would normally be the pause button, and you can fast forward through the cutscenes. You know, all these quality of life features I think are very nice additions. I think this is a remake worth checking out. If you have Game Pass, I think it's a no-brainer. Honestly, if this game interests you and you don't have Game Pass, you got PS5 and you want to buy it, $70, I think if it interests you, if this is something you want to play, I think you should play it. Yeah, those are just my quick impressions of Persona 3 Reload. What do you guys think? You guys like this game, not like this game? Anything about the game, let me know down below. Anyways, be sure to like the video, come subscribe, or I will unleash my persona on you. Bye!